Good morning. Here's L2. Welcome, everyone, to a lovely day. A lovely day. We are talking about beyond material. See, this is why Neville Goddard taught the way he did. Because he knew, this is why he called it the law and the promise. He knew you couldn't reach the heart of a man if that man had physical difficulties in the world, meaning he was either hungry or destitute. He knew. So he taught man just at the level man was at. And so now I'm finding, because people don't get all the time, they don't always get that there is more. They don't always get that there's more. But there is more than the material, because you and I create the material. But we also create the immaterial. Things like self-esteem, self-worth, your inner value, unconditional love. We also create those things. Indeed, we do. We create them, and then we see their physical expression. So if I say to you, you can become anything you want psychologically, people don't have time. Because they're busy. They either need somewhere to live, they either need a job, they either need food. So you teach them, one, that they can create those things. And two, once they know they can create those things, now they go beyond the material. That is the beauty of the law. The beauty of the law is you become aware that the law exists. It's funny because you know the law exists, but you just don't know that it does. We know that the law exists, but we don't know that it does. We know that it exists because we can see the seasons, the full moon, the sleep cycle, sowing and reaping. That we know. But what we don't know is what it actually is called and what it actually does. And that there's something so powerful that makes it happen. That's the part we don't know. But we do know it. And so when you grasp that the same thing that causes day and night is the same power that you can use to change your very existence, now we're working with power in its most pure form. That's why we go beyond material. We go beyond the material because the material, because we are physical beings, we have to know how to do it, but deliberately. We have to know that we create our world, but you don't just do it blindly. You have to do it deliberately. When I say not to do it blindly, I mean when you know that you are the one creating from your mood, from what you know of yourself and what you know yourself to be. Well, if you see yourself in a poor light, oh, I'm not good enough. If you see yourself from there, then what will you recreate? You'll recreate your life experiences from that very place. And it is not a pleasurable place. And then we say things like, ooh, I'm being tested. No, you're not being tested. You're repeating a pattern. The all does not test. The all learns and knows itself so that it is deliberate and precise with its creations. And so you and I get to do the exact same thing. become deliberate. So that when you look in the mirror, Neville Goddard puts it in such a beautiful way. He says, even if you think you started behind the 8 ball, meaning you weren't born with a silver spoon, you don't need to be born with a silver spoon. You need to know that you can create the silver spoon. This is the difference. This is what he teaches. It is law. So if you say things like, man, I don't even know what kind of friends I want. I don't even know the friends I have. What do I do? Oh, you get out the law of polarity. The law of polarity shows you where you are, and it shows you what you're doing. It shows you your rhythm, your pattern. It does not show you your pattern so it can beat you with it. It shows you your pattern so you can decide if it is still of a benefit to you. If you look at your current experience and you say, this will no longer do. Now we go beyond material, don't we? We now go straight to the heart of the matter. Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. So if you're looking at a particular pattern in your life and you see, oh, well, where are you and what are you doing? Name it. You name it so you can be honest. Because from a place of honesty, now you can create the actual experiences that you want. Don't try and gloss over it. Remember, it's not there to show you, oh, we see you suck. It does not do that to you. It's showing you your behavior. It is showing you where you are complicit in your shortcomings. Not because, again, not because it is beating you down. It's showing you because you have asked to see it. Well, how did you ask? When you say things like, why is this happening to me again? You are asking for a solution. So it shows you your pattern so that you can disrupt the old by creating the new. That is what it's showing you, because you were the one from the very depths of your being. You called out to say, help me. That's what you did. That's what you did. And the law is beautiful in that when you ask, you receive. You asked a question. You were seeking an answer, and now you have found it. So here are the steps to go beyond material. You look at where you are. What kind of experience would you like to have? Be clear about it. You want a spiritual one? Well, what does that mean? You are a spirit, so everything you're having is spiritual to begin with. Name the experience that you would like to have, because you are creating it when you name it. You are creating the carbon copy. Well, the copy now, or should I say, you're creating the hard copy so that you can recreate it. That's why you must be clear about what it is you want to experience, not whether you think the experience is possible to have. That is not what it is asking you. It is asking, what do you want to experience? Because when you have the blueprint, it is possible to recreate from it. That's what you're doing. So to go beyond the material plane, you get into the mental plane. And in the mental plane, you can mold and shape yourself into what you want to become in the physical plane. Because this is where it will always manifest, in the physical. But if we were in the immaterial plane, it would manifest right there, right then. So step one, know what it is that you want to experience. You want more discernment. so that you can choose better, well, then that means you ask, show me my true self so you can see who you really are. When you see who you really are, you see your boundaries, and you will see if you lack boundaries so that you can put them up. So that when you encounter someone, they are either in harmony with who you say you are, or they are dissonant. And if they are dissonant, well, the power of discernment tells you red alert, and you stay away from them because they are not harmonious to you. So when you see that they are inharmonious, you protect yourself by not being around that. And then you get the opportunity to recognize who is in harmony with you so that you can do what? Be around them, because they resonate with you. So you see, discernment is practice. Practice in knowing the self, because you're only ever recreating the self. There's nothing to change but the self, as per Neville Goddard. Why is that? Because there is only one consciousness. There's only one thing that is aware of itself. So if you are aware of you, who are you changing? You. To go beyond the material, you begin to look at yourself, and if you notice that you have a weakness for comparing yourself to others, well, go back to the law. You compare yourself to others. Why? Because you feel somehow about it. And the law tells you, hey, you don't have to compare. You are unique unto yourself. Look for your uniqueness and begin to recreate it in the world. Because you might think your uniqueness is a part. No, your uniqueness is whole. It's not part, it is whole. We run around thinking we're missing something when in actuality, we are already whole. We say things like, my better half. What? You're not half. You are whole. So if you say, I'm looking for my better half, then you are admitting to the self that you are not whole. And so if you are not whole, what are you recreating? Halves. Go beyond the material. You have to know that you are whole. Who was it? Dear Lord. I forget the name of the poet. When he said, when you see a grain of sand. I'll paraphrase. You've seen the universe. We call it fractals. A fractal is a piece that shows you the whole. You look like a piece. You look like an individual, but you are the whole universe. When you begin to see yourself as whole, that's not material. That's beyond the material. You are whole. And when you begin to walk in the fact that you are 100%, now you begin to create from 100%. Now you begin to recognize that you are not lacking in any area. That is what we do. I see you three. I'm coming. One moment. Bear with me. This is the beauty of what we have been given. You are whole already. But somewhere along the line in our existence, we've been told that we are not whole. So because we believe, because you recreate what you believe you know, because what you believe is what you know yourself to be. So if you know yourself or believe yourself to be a part, not whole, where must you recreate from? What will you recreate? You'll recreate parts. bits and pieces, when in actuality, you are whole. How do you discover your wholeness? Look at the seed. The seed has all of the genetic information within it. What does it have? All of it. It doesn't just have a root in it. It has the root, the sapling, the tree, the fruit, right down to the seed again. It has the whole cycle within it, not a part. So if a seed has all of it, well then, so do you. How do you know that you have wholeness, that you are whole? Just by looking at a seed. Because that is the precision of the law. It creates wholeness because it is whole. So then, if you use the law of correspondence, as above, so below, and you see that you are looking at wholeness right here in the material plane, well, what's above you then? If you're seeing manifest wholeness in the material, wholeness doesn't come from parts. Wholeness comes from the whole. WHOLE, whole, entirety, all. So that is going to tell you that you are whole. And when you know that you are whole, that brings a whole nother attitude, a whole nother way of being, a whole other way of speaking. That is what it does to you, wholeness. So today, let's go beyond the material. We're not bits and bobs and pieces of things. We are whole. If you spend time in the silence, if you spend time in meditation, you will see the wholeness of yourself. Oh, but I'm afraid. I can't even sit still for 2 minutes. Well, then be like children. Children are curious. They want to know. So, do you want to know your wholeness? Well, allow the curiosity to cause you to sit still or lay still. We say, I can't sit still. Shoot, we sleep in stillness. So don't tell me that you cannot. Yes, you can. You sleep. Sure, you toss and turn, but you sleep nonetheless. We already know how to be still, but we've been taught you can't be. I'm not talking stillness as in you stop moving. The law of vibration tells you that nothing stands still, everything moves. So, what stillness am I speaking of? Even if you sit still, lay still, stand still, the heart beats. The chest rises and falls from the expansion of you inhaling and exhaling. Gastric juices, all of these things are moving. We are always moving. So to go towards the stillness, we are afraid of stillness because we don't know what it contains. But if you use the law, you will recognize what stillness contains. Stillness contains the fullness of what you are. So to be still means you are moving around in the mental plane and getting to know the immaterial side of yourself. We spend so much time feeding the material that we neglect the immaterial. But know this, material emerges from the immaterial, so it pays you to know what is hidden within. And the law doesn't hide things from you. It doesn't hide things from you. It gives you an opportunity to come upon it, to see it, to become aware of it for yourself. So be like children today and become curious. Become curious. What do you want to know about yourself? What do you want to know about yourself? It is right there. It's right there. It's not way over there because it can't be. It's you. You cannot be separated from yourself. You're whole. So you take a moment and you inhale and exhale. And you begin to become aware of your body because you're in it. It feels a particular way. You know what we stop? When we first learn and practice meditation, the mind, they call it a monkey mind, it starts to go hither and yon and it flits about. But that's telling you something. It's telling you, hey, are you aware of your mind? Look at what it's doing. So once you see what it is doing, you say, ah, yes, it's doing its usual. And you remove your attention from it. And you put your attention somewhere else on your body. Because you're becoming aware of your body, every facet of it. Oh, look, those are my fingers. And then you remove your attention from your fingers to your toes. Oh, look, there's my belly button. You become aware of it. And then you move on to the awareness of some other body part. When you've gone through all of them, right? Now you begin to become intrigued by the part of you, the immaterial part of you. Now you become aware that you are aware. You're the one who's aware of, oh, look, my belly button. You are aware of it. So now what else can you become aware of? You become aware of the thing that is aware. Oh, great, Angela. That seems so convoluted. No, you're becoming aware that you are the one aware. It's like seeing yourself for the first time in a mirror and becoming aware, oh, snap, that's me? That's what I look like? Yeah, you become aware that you are the one looking in the mirror at your own reflection. That is the purpose. To become aware of the immaterial self. You see, you are already aware of the immaterial self, but you take it for granted. Here are the two ways. Oh man, I should have listened because it would have turned out better. Or, whew, I'm sure glad I listened. Look at how well it turned out. You are aware of yourself. You call it a fancy word, intuition. But it is you. It's what's inside of you. So what's inside? The I is inside. Me is the body. When you ask somebody, who is it? It's me. It's your body. But then you get to realize that there is an I, the immaterial self. So today, we practice going beyond the material plane and we go towards the immaterial, which is on the mental plane, where you get to know the true self. As above, so below. So if you know your physical self, which is below, it tells you there is a self above. So you might as well get to know it. It's you. You have nothing to be afraid of. It is you. It only has your best interest at heart because it is you. You see, we go through life thinking, oh, I want the best material life there is. That's what we do. Who do you think is giving it to you? You are. Your immaterial self. Oh, but Angela, that's blasphemous. How dare you say there is no God? I didn't say there wasn't one. I am telling you, the laws have emerged from the all. That's where they've come from. So if you want to live your best life, look at what you've been given by the all. Sure, call it what you want. God. Call it what you want because we're human. We have to give it a name, don't we? But how does one get to know God? God is immaterial. But you can look at the material. So when you look at the material, you can clearly see that there's something beyond it that powers it. That's the part. That's the part. Again, call it God if you must. But that's the part that pervades everything. It runs through everything. It gives life to everything because it is life itself. But we've been taught to fear God. Mozinga, I see you. Here's the etymology. Behind the veil. Fear comes from per, to risk, to lead across, to press forward. Right? That's the etymology of the word. But we've been taught to be afraid of the immaterial. That's what we've been taught. But you cannot fear yourself because you have your best interest at heart. Let us take a moment now, shall we? To welcome everyone into the space. Hey, 3. And Jeff, darling. I see you. I think I did it right, didn't I? Yes, I did. Let's see, who's here on YouTube today? Mozinka, this is why I love you and etymology. You know, what do we go to college and we have to pay our tuition? We have to pay our tuition, don't we? All right. You have an intuition, but mull that one over. So we've got Mozinga here. Marjorie. Elsie, girl. It's been a long time. Shea Butter, Goddess Pure Diamond. The Better Man. Hey, Joaquim is also here, but I can't see the rest of the chat. I'm not seeing it, but I see the ones who are here. So if I've missed you, say hello again in the chat so it will repopulate. Facebook is indie. Who's here this morning on Fanbase? Triple S. Hey, Tiny House. Nate, darling. Trinell. KZ. Pushpinder. Comrade. K. Flo Smiles. Ali is here. L. My Melanin. Miss McQueen. Oracle Treehouse. Zola. Hey, I have not said Summer Rose, nor have I said Yolanda. I haven't said that this morning. Sugar Visions. I see you all. 3. Ask that question, please and thank you. Because I know you're still here. So ask the question and then we shall I'll come back to you then. I'll come back to you. I wonder, did you send it to me in a DM? No. Go ahead and jot the question down then in the DMs and I will read it out. So today, go beyond the material. Go above it as a below. The below is telling you hey, something is pervading and making what is below. So when you go above, you'll see what that is. It is law. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Whether or not you believe in God is irrelevant. You are still the one that thinks. You are still the one that has a persistent thought. And from that persistent thought that you believe yourself to be, you still create your experiences. Oh, indeed. The law cares not about what you and I want to call ourselves. So long as you call yourself it, you must be it. It is impartial. It does not play favorites. It doesn't say, oh, look, it's Mozinga. Let me sprinkle confetti and rose petals all over his day. Oh, look, it's George. No, nothing for you today, George. No, the law does not do that. It does not, and it will not. How do we know for sure? Plant a seed. You think the seed cares if you... No, the seed doesn't care. All it requires is that it be planted. So go beyond the material realm. And we get beyond the material by recognizing that we create the material plane. That's what we do. But here's what we say. Because I know we say it a lot. My father still says it. Oh, my mother says it too. God willing. Well, allegedly, God gave you free will. So, what is your will? What is your will for your life? What is your will for your life? What is your intention for your life? You've been given free will. Exercise it. That's how we go beyond the material. Exercise your free will. Why is that important that you exercise your free will? Because you are the one who knows your intention. And because you know your intention, then there's nothing to fret about because you know what it is. You can say, I know exactly how I want this to turn out. And so, well, let's use the Neville Goddard way, which is law. If you've been listening to us for the past few nights, we're reading Neville Goddard for bedtime. Neville Goddard taught the law. Oh, indeed. We know it somewhat as the law of reversibility. That's the fancy word for causation. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. So Neville is telling you, you can create something mentally and have it show up physically. He says it in a different way, though. He says you can use heat to create electricity. Well, then you can use electricity to create heat. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. So if you can do that, this is why he tells you, what would it be like if you had your wish fulfilled? He's using the law of causation there. He's telling you, get the effect, feel the effect. And if you feel the effect, you will bring about the cause. That is how you create deliberately. So what is the desired effect you would like? Feel it in your body. See, but you know what we do? Naughty humans, you know what we do? Oh, but that's not possible. That's so far-fetched. How could I ever create something like that? That's what we say to ourselves. And because we've said that to ourselves, we have created that effect. The effect of it's not possible. And then when it does not occur, when it does not unfold for us, what do we say? See, it doesn't work. I read a post. Somebody said they've been trying to manifest for 8 years. Now, I didn't respond, but I read somebody's response and they said, dude, you've been manifesting for 8 years already. What do you mean you can't manifest? Manifesting is not a thing to be done, it is a thing to be observed. We observe it in the material plane, which means we have to do something in the immaterial. A change in impression, as Neville says, brings about a change in expression. So you have to change your mental attitude so that you can change your physical surroundings. That's what Neville is saying to you day in and day out. That's what Neville is saying day in and day out. Hey, Ruru, go ahead, 3.
Angela, hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I trust
okay.
everyone else can hear you too.
I'm so glad. I apologize for the delay. It's been so long. I haven't been on spaces. I guess I forgot how to navigate spaces.
It's all good. It all comes back.
Thank you so much for your words. I really missed hearing your voice. I'm so glad to hear it. There's something. Excuse me. There's something that you said regarding. I'm paraphrasing in my own words. What you said, what I understood that you said was the resonance of another being as you when. So let's just put it into a question. Okay, so if the resonance of another being in the beginning, it feels well. It feels good. It almost feels super metaphysical. But then, as time passes, or let's even say that things change, maybe the mask that people wear tends to drop, and that resonance shifts into something else. How do you reconcile that? How can you if the person is no longer identifying, even acknowledging, how can you get back on the same page? And how does it relate to the law of one? What am I supposed to learn from an experience such as the one that I'm having in that regard?
Great question. Let me say the question again. What happens when someone changes? You thought they were one way, but they change. There's many things learning in that experience here now. You're beginning to see yourself. When we encounter people, okay, we are seeing ourselves. We are seeing ourselves. So when you see yourself, sometimes we think the other is wearing the mask. But the thing already has to be in you in order to affect you coming from them. And this is not what's the word? Admonition. It's not a slap on the wrist. It is always the law in its grace, always showing us ourselves in the other person. So where within you, and this is the part we don't always enjoy, it's a great thing to be able to see yourself so that you can reconcile what's going on within you. Remember that part. When you look at someone else, whether you like or dislike, there's something there. Something, let's not get it mixed up with intuition. If the hairs on the back of your head stand up, that is intuition telling you danger, right? We've got to be able to recognize that versus, I don't know if I like you anymore. You have changed also. You're seeing your own reflection, not to judge it, but to ascertain if it is still something that you want. That is what's happening in these situations. Are you wearing a mask? Not to hide from someone. You cannot hide from someone, but we do attempt to hide from ourselves because we might not like a particular thing about ourselves. Again, the thing about yourself is not to beat you down. It's to show you who you are and to show you what you are recreating. That's the purpose of seeing yourself. It's the same reason why you put on clothes and go in front of the full-length mirror. To see if it is presentable as a whole, to get a full reflection back. So you can look at it and go, in my mind, I thought that would go together, but I'm going to change this part. You don't look in the mirror at your outfit and go, oh my God, what is that? No. You look at it to make sure that, oh, this is pleasing. That is what we do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really, really, really does, and especially about the idea, am I also am I also wearing a mask? Am I also doing that in return? Because it is a mutual thing. It is a dance. It is a two-way street, and I take accountability for what's occurring. I simply, my goal is to understand it better, um to experience it in a way that is for my highest good, my highest learning, and also for the other person as well. I don't want there to be any damage on either side. I would like for there to be harmony, equilibrium, and peace. And, so that's my aim. That's my goal. And yeah, I think, Angela, I think some of the most challenging relationships, whatever they are, friendships, love relationships, they can show you the most about yourself. And when I find that, versus when we succeed, when we fail, like when we truly fail at something, and when we fall on our butt, and that's when we tend to learn the most. When things are the hardest, that's when we learn
the most. I'm going to put it this way to you. That is a beautiful observation, 3. I'm going to put it this way so that we see the full picture. Right? Neville said it best. Where is Cyber? Neville said it best when he said it's only the failure to realize what it is you want to create. That's paraphrasing, but that's what he's talking about. You see, we don't fail in the sense that, you missed the mark, right? It's not a failure. It's because when you say the word failure, experience what that feels like in your body. It does not feel good to your body. The corresponding sensation to failure, when you are keenly aware of your failure, it's almost like a physical pain. And so because it is so keen and sharp, it leaves an impression on the subconscious mind right away. And then what do? You feel bad about that failure. And now you begin to question everything. Oh, am I going to fail here? Am I going to fail there? Now what are you recreating? You're recreating that failure again. So instead of seeing it as, I fell, no. See it as, oh, let me try this new part over here. Let me try this. Let me try these socks with these shoes. You didn't fail. what happened is more clarity is required in the desired outcome that you're seeking to create. If we can become more clear about what it is we want to experience, because when you have the clarity now, your body will correspond with the matching sensation. And that matching sensation usually will feel much better. It will feel like relief. And when you create from that place of relief, what are you recreating? Relief. So perhaps, because it permeates all of humanity, to think that it is this crushing failure that teaches us. We believe it, so it must be true. But because that's law. So long as you deem it to be true, it has to be, because you cannot be made a liar of. So if you want to teach yourself how to go beyond the material, you look at this thing you quote unquote call a failure and you say, whoa, wait a minute. No, 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 no. I'm learning a new way to be. Let me get more clear. Because you actually have an emotional response, a visceral response to failure. We tend to beat ourselves up with failure. But when you beat yourself up, that leaves an impression upon the subconscious mind. And it is from that impression you now create more carbon copies. So see failure as something different, because it removes the sting from your world so that you don't continually recreate. I want you to think about what an impression is. When you go somewhere, you see like a stencil, an artist, they create an impression on something. And just like how they used to print back in the old days, and they had the letters and such, right? They had the letters and such, and they would run the ink over it and then put that plain paper there, and you would get whatever that impression was. So whenever, think about it this way, when you impress something upon the subconscious mind, it now becomes this block that you are going to trace and run your life on top of. Another way of looking at it, if you write on a piece of paper and you leave an impression, when you rip off that top page, if you color in that new page that's blank, what did you do? You are recreating the impression that you left behind so that you can see what was written. So when you impress the subconscious mind, now you're leaving your mark on it, and the mark that you leave behind is what you recreate from. So failure leaves a hard impression on the subconscious mind that causes an emotional response. And so emotionally now you recreate from that impression of failure. So let us begin to use our impressions wisely. So Neville says, become disciplined in what we impress upon our subconscious mind, meaning, what are these thoughts that we're having? So when you encounter someone else, right? When you encounter someone else and you are living your life, you are seeing you. You're not seeing you so you can judge you. You're seeing you to make sure, hey, does my outfit go together? That's what you're looking at. So that now you can modify. So why would you want to modify? So when you walk out the door, you are, you're hip. You're on point. You can have that swagger. That is the purpose of seeing yourself, not to judge. So I know that in society today, we think and we say to ourselves, oh, we learn the best from trauma and tragedy. Mm, do we? we learn from it, all right. But what do we learn? We learn and we impress upon our subconscious minds how not to be.
Right, right.
So practice, and this goes for everybody, practice seeing failure as something different. It is not a bad thing. It is simply you seeing yourself so that you can get it right, get it tight. Yeah, that's what you can do. And say, ooh, let me tweak it here. It is that thing that we get past mentally. We have to go to the mental to get past it and not beat ourselves up. Mozinga, Mozinga is in these chat streets. He says yes, because the impression becomes the expression. Go to any print shop. You go to a tattoo artist, he already has an impression. You flip through the book of impressions so that he can do what? Express it on your skin. So now use the law of correspondence as above, so below. So the tattoo artist is going to impress upon your skin. Well, no, he's going to express upon your skin the impression from his collection of impressions in his book. Or you go to the tattoo artist with your own impression and you say to him, okay, look, here's what I want. And he listens to you and he sketches it out so that you can do what? Look at it and say, you're almost right. Let's tweak it here. Why do you tweak it? You tweak it so that the expression becomes exactly what you want it to be on your skin. Because I'm sure we've seen the memes of what we thought we were getting for tattoos, but we got something else. Right?
Right.
That is now the impression of failure. Change it. Change the impression of failure, and you will change the expression of your life.
I mean, Angela, if I may continue just
Yes.
for a little bit longer, I find within myself sometimes it's easy when it involves two people. It becomes a little bit easy to put blame on one or the other party, and though I take accountability for my actions, I also am I can be very direct, very harsh sometimes, and where the old saying, like you catch more with honey, kind of like that. I would impart more teaching. There would be more learning. There would be more growth if I was more gentle, but I'm not, and that's another thing that I'm attempting to discipline myself and control myself better. That yes, okay, this is creating an emotional response reaction in me that is deep, and if my goal, if the goal here is to work with this individual, if this is a partnership, whatever kind of relationship it is, then it should also be part of my responsibility to be able to impart that sort of, you know what I'm saying. I think you know what I'm saying.
I get you. I get you. But let's, as Elle says, let's teach on it. Now, remember this always. There's only one consciousness. It's just you. Yeah, it looks like there's another person, but there's just you. Okay? We like to blame. Of course we do. We do. But that blame is coming because we're looking through the lens of an impression that is already in your subconscious mind. So if you've been hurt before and this person does something that causes you to remember the impression of hurt, well, of course, you're going to have a visceral response because it is pain. So you lash out from pain. So to discipline oneself, change the lens you're looking through. You say you want to have more grace, you want to be softer in your approach. So then, how is it that you are speaking to yourself? Because the way you speak to yourself, if you speak to yourself in a harsh way, man, you so this, you so that, how come you don't get it? Blah. That is the only way you'll be able to express it to someone else. So it has to start within you. The way you speak to yourself, don't reprimand yourself. If you look at it and you say, how do I want to respond here? How do I want to respond? What is the outcome? What is the desired effect? You know what? I want to learn this in a beautiful way. Thus, I will teach it to myself in that way. So here's what I see. Let me use the law. What's the expression? You know what? I want to create within me a softness. Firm, because I have a boundary, but soft at the same time. So I'm going to speak it like this. That's what I learned from my grandfather. Taste your words before you speak them. Because if you taste what it is you want to say before you say it, if it is bitter on your tongue, come again. You won't do it that way. Taste it again. Is it more palatable to you? Sometimes we think, well, what is palatable to me may not be palatable to them. But here it is. You will know when it is palatable. You will know. Because when you taste those words, right, and you want to you did this to me. Remember, there is I. There's simply I. How are you speaking to yourself? How are you treating yourself? If when you speak to yourself, you cringe or you become angry and you have that visceral response, what's that physiological response in your body? Does it feel good to you? Then if it does not feel good in your body, you can be guaranteed it's not going to feel good in their body. So if you don't know what to say just yet, you plead the fifth. You say, you know what? Let me find the right words. And you find the right words by finding the right feeling in your body first. Remember, cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, but every effect has its cause. So find the effect you're going for. How do you want to feel? Because then that's the impression you will recreate from in them also. I trust that makes sense because these questions are, um, these questions, three, are universal, right? They're universal questions. They're meant for everyone to, because we're all going through them at the same time. So today, be encouraged to know that it begins with self. It begins with yourself. And you and I are living from the impressions that are already on our subconscious minds. The printing press, remember that part? And we used to, oh God, it was a stencil, and you had to put the thing on, and you would roll that because it had carbon paper on it, and you would roll it through, and it would impress upon the carbon paper. It would push on it, and so it would print it out on the other end on the plain paper. I don't know if you've ever encountered that. Oh my God, I just showed my age.
I don't think I have. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Cause no, you young. We ain't coming back with that one.
Okay, maybe not. Well, maybe not.
But that's the way that we used to put what we get an impression from something to the paper, to the plain paper. So remember now what your subconscious is. It is a plain paper, and that's how we started. But our mothers, our fathers, our grannies, our grandpappies, our teachers, our preachers, all of them left their impressions upon our subconscious minds. And it is from those impressions that we live our current expressions. So, in order to change the expression, you have to get in there and change the impression. And you change the impression by learning something new, become something new, because it's a new neural pathway. This is the science of it now with your brain. When you learn something new, especially by rote memory, you say it over, you do it over. This is why affirmations are so important sometimes, because you're leaving an impression upon the mind. But the thing that is keenly felt by the body is what leaves the hard and fast impression on the subconscious mind. That's why Maya Angelou could say, people may forget what you tell them, but they always remember how you made them feel. Because it is the feeling that is like a hot branding iron that goes, and that is the impression left on your subconscious mind, and that is where you will live from. So, in order to go beyond that and create something, Neville Goddard asks you, what would it feel like? So, what would it feel like, three, to have beautiful friendships? What would that feel like to your body? Ponder that. You don't have to answer it, ponder it. Because when you get a hold of what that feeling is, now you're telling your body, this is the feeling we're going for, this is the impression. And that is how you go beyond material to recreate a new material experience. Does that make sense?
Very much so. Thank you so much, Angela. You provide such a service, and you're so consistent. You have a constancy, and you like we take it for granted. I think the sun, the sunrise and sets, and we kind of just expect it to rise, like every day, and it's kind of like that. You work hard. You're here every single day. As far as I know, you're here every day, every morning, and you do this. And I'm sure the people that listen to your words, someone actually just messaged me. They said they found you through the podcast that we did, and they're here now. So yeah, so it resonates, and I think the people who are meant to find you, and I really appreciate you very much. I'm very glad that you're a part. I consider you a friend, and I'm glad that I know you and that you're here. So thank you.
Oh, three, you're awesome. Thank you. It is law. It is always law. Because that phrase, those who are seeking by way of law must find what it is they're seeking for. So today, my beautiful friends, before we go, because we always hit the bowl before we go. And tonight, 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will hit that bowl, y'all. And we'll then read from Neville Goddard maybe an hour or two afterwards. But before we go out into the world, remember, you are whole already. You are beautiful already. What is that? You are already that which you want to be. And your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. Neville Goddard's words. So come to know who and what it is that you are. Do that. Come to know it. And your impression of yourself will change so that your expression will change. Let us get the bowl, shall we? Hello, Thomas. Let me turn this down a little bit so that we don't get a lot of feedback. But let's hit the bowl. It gets louder, don't worry. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jeff, Ruru, 3, thank you for being here on Twitter. And I know the replay gang, Lilith, Tiffany, I know they'll be here later. I love you all, and thank you again for being here. Much love to you all. Twitter is closed. Oh, wait, y'all. There it is. YouTube, Facebook, thank you all for being here. Huh? Ayapo, I see you. It's so true, isn't it? Oh, indeed. Thank you all for being here. Mozinga, Ayapo, L, Sugar Visions. That's as far back as it goes. It won't let me go any further. But I know Joaquin is here, the better man, Marjorie, and all the others who I can't see anymore for some strange reason. Thank you all for being here on YouTube and Facebook. Tonight, 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 10:30, we'll read Neville Goddard before bed. Much love.